Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, girls. But seriously, Wanda Jean Allen. Wanda Jean Allen was a young, very troubled woman who murdered her girlfriend, Gloria Jean in 1988. That wasn't the first time Wanda Jean had killed a woman, it was the second time. And not only that, but Gloria, the girlfriend who she murdered, had also murdered a woman. And they met in prison. Recipe for success right there. This is the complicated life story of Wanda Jean Allen, a lesbian woman who was executed by the state of Oklahoma on the 11th of January 2001. She was 42 years old. Her last meal? A bag of chips.
All I want is like some chips or something like that I can snack on. Nothing I have to cook in a hot pot.
I hear you.
I can have that, but just, chips and stuff like that.
I hear you. I hear you.
I want nothing to have to cook for me. I just want chips.
We'll do it.
And they can take the money out of my books there if they have to.
Hey, we'll get it done.
Okay.
Wanda Jean Allen was born on August 17th, 1959 in Oklahoma, and she was the second of 8 children. She grew up with a really big family, which didn't help matters much. They were already struggling, their family was not very well off. She grew up in public housing, and to make matters even worse, her mother, Mary Allen, was an alcoholic, and her father abandoned their family after his 8th child was born. So it was pretty rough, but Wanda Jean was quoted as saying, "We had love. We didn't have a lot of financial support or materialistic things, but we had love in our house." Her brother, Reverend Bill Allen, said that when they were kids, they would swing from trees and play basketball, and they had a lot of fun together, and they didn't really have a lot of toys, but they always made do. When Wanda Jean was 12 years old, things changed for her. Her and her brother Bill were walking to the grocery store, and they had to cross a street to get there, and they both took off running. Her brother was way ahead of her, and Wanda Jean, trying to keep up, actually ended up getting hit by a truck. The truck sent her flying up into the air, and when she landed on her head, which rendered her unconscious. It would later be determined that she suffered damage to her frontal lobe. You guys know where this is going. Her brother Bill said that she was never the same after that incident, and that whenever she would get upset, she would essentially it was like she would shut down. She had serious anger issues and basically couldn't regulate her emotions in a healthy way. She got in a lot of fights, and when she was 15 years old, she got stabbed in the left temple. Stabbed in the temple. She eventually landed in juvie at the age of 15, and I'm unclear if this is directly related to her being stabbed and that whole altercation, but she was in juvie. While she was there, she took an IQ test and scored a 69, which is in the range of intellectual disability. It was discovered that the left hemisphere of her brain was dysfunctional, impairing her comprehension, her ability to logically express herself, and her ability to analyze cause and effect relationships. It was also concluded that Allen was more chronically vulnerable than others to becoming disorganized by everyday stresses, and thus more vulnerable to a loss of control under stress. This discovery and her IQ test were associated with the accident that she had a few years prior. By the time she was 17, she had dropped out of high school. I'm not exactly sure what she did for the next few years, but when she was 22 years old, she murdered someone. Wanda Jean was sharing an apartment with a girl named Dedra Pettus, who was a childhood friend of hers actually, but they eventually started dating and lived together. Not a lot is known about their relationship, but it wasn't going well. June 29th, 1981. They got into an argument, and Wanda Jean shot and killed Pettus. In her 1981 confession, Wanda Jean Allen stated that she accidentally shot Pettus from roughly 30 feet away while returning fire from Pettus's boyfriend. The forensic evidence was inconsistent with Wanda Jean's story. A police expert believed that bruises and powder burns on Pettus's body indicated that Allen had pistol whipped her, then shot her at point blank range. Nevertheless, loud. Prosecutors cut a deal with Allen, and she got 4 years in exchange for pleading guilty to a manslaughter charge. Dedra Pettus was buried at Trice Hill Cemetery in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. During Wanda Jean's time in prison, she met a woman named Gloria Jean Leathers. They had a lot in common, you know, they both killed people. Jail, lovebirds. Actually, no, they met in prison and just became friends at that point. Jean said that Gloria was very funny and witty. Gloria was born on the 7th of January 1959, so she and Wanda Jean were the same age. So if they met in 1981, then they both would have been 22 years old at this point. Apparently, Gloria had boasted about her crimes to Wanda Jean. She told her that in 1979, she was at a disco in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and had an encounter with a girl named Sheila Marie Barker, who she stabbed to death. The judge had determined that the slaying was self-defense on Gloria's part, and now they're in prison together talking about it. So they get to know each other for 2 years, and then Wanda Jean is released. Yes, she only served 2 of the 4 years for killing someone. She just goes about her life, and then around 1985 she gets a phone call from somebody, and it's Gloria. She's like, hey, I just got out. Wanda Jean said that she didn't have a place to stay and she and her family were having problems. So I allowed her to come and live with me because I know how hard it is when you get out. By me being locked up, I understood that situation. You have to help people when they get out. Someone helped me when I got out, so in turn I wanted to help someone else. So they ended up living together and dating on and off for about 3 years. They had a very turbulent relationship, to say the least. The police had been called out to their place multiple times. People said that Wanda Jean had a dominant personality and that in her relationship with Gloria, she was the dominant one. She usually just went by Jean, not Wanda Jean, and spelled her name the way that is traditionally spelled for a male. So, Gene. Shit hits the fan on December 2nd, 1988. On the day of the shooting, Gloria had broken up with Jean. It was very emotional day. And Jean doesn't do good with emotions. Jean doesn't do good under stress, and she doesn't do good with regulating her emotions. So this wasn't gonna go well. The dispute started in a grocery store, and a city officer had to intervene and then escorted Gloria and Jean back to their house, where he stood by so that Gloria could pack up her things and leave. Gloria's mother, Ruby Wilson, was also there, so she witnessed all of this stuff that's about to happen. Okay, so Gloria's done. She's got all her stuff in the car. She gets in the car. Her and her mom decide to go to the police station. They're like, we need to file a report against Jean. And Jean's like... She decides to get in her car and follow them there. Jean tells this story a little differently. Jean said that Gloria hit her in the face with a hand rake and that she wasn't following them to the police station. She was going there herself to file her own complaint against Gloria. So they both get to the village police department in Oklahoma City. Things are tense, to say the least. Gloria gets out of her car. Wanda gets out of hers. Gloria's mom said that she didn't realize that Gloria was shot at first because Gloria had turned around and was leaning into the car to grab her purse. You'd normally grab your purse at like a certain angle and then stand back up. But instead, she gets there and just keeps going down. Like, she kind of falls over and she's clutching her stomach. And she's like, Mama Jean shot me. Then she grabbed her side and said, Mama Jean shot me. And her mom said, oh girl, stop playing. Jean ain't shot you. And Gloria's like, she did, Mama. And her mom, Ruby, looks out the car and Jean is just standing there, stoic. And Ruby calls out her name, but Jean doesn't respond. She just turns away calmly and walks back to her car and leaves. She flees the scene of the crime. Now remember, they're in the parking lot of a police department. 2 police officers and a dispatcher heard the gun go off, but there weren't any eyewitnesses to the shooting. Still though, you're fucked. Anyways, Ruby said that Gloria was holding her side and that when she moved her hand that there was just a small wound there. And it didn't actually look like much because Jean had used a .38 caliber handgun. When paramedics got there though, they turned her over. And when Ruby saw her daughter's back, all her intestines were hanging out. Gloria died 3 days later in the hospital, leaving behind a young daughter named LaToya. So remember, Jean had fled the scene of the crime, and the police actually near her house were able to recover the gun that she had tossed, the .38 caliber handgun, and it wasn't long until they apprehended her. When they brought her in for questioning, they told her that Gloria had died. In the interview that I saw, they said last night, so I guess they were talking to her on the 6th, but Gloria Jean Leathers died on December 5th, 1988. Jean said, when the officer told me...
When the officer told me that Gloria had just died, I died right then. Right then. With her.
Gloria was buried at the Green Acres Garden Cemetery in Sperry, Tulsa County, Oklahoma. She was just 29 years old and left behind a young daughter named LaToya. Regarding the murder, Jean said, I was there physically, but mentally, I wasn't.
Thoughts that were going through your head during that day?
It's out of your control, and it's no word a person that's in that position probably can describe it in the words that need to be used in that term.
Yeah.
But I don't have that vocabulary as that medical person would have.
Right.
But I can say I was there physically, but mentally, I wasn't there.
For her murder trial, the central argument was that she acted in self-defense. You know, Gloria had a violent history. She had murdered somebody. They had a tumultuous relationship. The cops had been called multiple times. She hit Jean in the face with a hand rake. Jean testified that she was afraid of Gloria because Gloria had bragged about killing Sheila Marie in 1979 outside that disco, and like, who brags about that? The defense planned to corroborate this claim with a testimony from Ruby, Gloria's mother, who also knew about the stabbing because Gloria had bragged to her about it too, I guess. But when the testimony was presented as evidence, the prosecution objected on the grounds that it was hearsay. The prosecutor depicted Jean as a remorseless liar who hunted down her victims. They presented a couple cards that Jean had written for Gloria, and these aren't a good look. One said, "You're in my prayers, but you're also in my confessions. P.S. I'm the type of person who will hunt someone down I love and kill them. Do I make myself clear, Gloria?" The second card had a picture of a gorilla on it, and the printed message said, "Patience my ass, I'm gonna kill something." Inside the card, Jean had written, "Try and leave me and you will understand this card more. Dig? For real, no joke." The cards were signed Wanda Jean, Gene. The jury found her guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced her to death. Her sentencing took place on April 27th, 1989. She would remain on death row for 12 years until her execution. In a 1991 affidavit, her defense lawyer stated that after the trial, he learned that when Jean was 15 years old, her IQ was measured at 69, placing her just within the upper limits of the classification of mental retardation, according to the psychologist who analyzed her, and that an examining doctor had recommended a neurological assessment because she manifested symptoms of brain damage. The lawyer stated, more like admitted, "I did not search for any medical or psychological records or seek expert assistance for use at the trial. I'll get to more of that later." In the last few months leading up to her execution, a documentary was made that chronicled the last 3 months of her life. It was created by Liz Garbus and was called The Execution of Wanda Jean, and was released in 2002. The documentary focused on her legal team and their efforts to get the governor to grant her clemency. Her legal team consisted of Stephen Presson, Wanda Jean's co-counsel, and his brother David Presson, who was volunteering as Jean's legal investigator. Stephen said that the Clemency Board in Oklahoma has never, in the modern system post-1976, never recommended clemency, so they were hoping that Wanda Jean would be the first to receive it. So they got a clemency hearing set for December 15th, 2000. Funny side note, in the documentary they interviewed Greg Wilson, who was Gloria's brother. He said that he would hang out at the Allen's house a lot and that Jean would just be walking around without her top on, just like naked. He was like, Jean, put some clothes on. And she like didn't understand what the problem was and was like, you don't need to worry about all that. He said, you really had to know her to understand her. She's quite a character. On December 15th, a little under a month before Jean's execution date, the Presson brothers appeared at a clemency hearing before the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board. Their goal was to recommend to Governor Frank Keating that he commute Jean's execution to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Their argument was that she was mentally impaired. They didn't have this information at her first trial in 1989. They have it now, and that because of this mental impairment, she was not in full control of her faculties. He went on to say she's got neuropsychological problems that make her react to crisis situations very differently from the rest of us. When she was age 15 in a juvenile institution, she was tested and they discovered that she had borderline mental retardation, severe cognitive dysfunction, and a doctor at the time wrote a report recommending further testing and treatment. His recommendations were ignored by the state. But in 1975, if state officials had followed up on Dr. Clemency's recommendations, it's possible that nobody would have ever lost their life. Basically, the prosecutor said that during the penalty phase of her 1989 trial, that she herself testified and said that she not only graduated from high school, but she also got a medical assistant certificate from college, and therefore she is competent enough and in control enough of her behavior despite this new evidence of her IQ tests. Stephen Presson said that regardless of what she testified, it's a fact that Jean dropped out of high school when she was 16 or 17 and that she never received any kind of medical assistance certificate from college, that she didn't go to college. The fact that she testified otherwise should lend more credence to their argument that she is mentally unbalanced. Stephen also said that Jean being a lesbian devalued her to the jury because they're in the Bible Belt. Stephen said that the jury valued her life very little. Now, Jean said that while on death row, she had become a born-again Christian, but her spiritual advisor, Reverend Robin Myers, is quoted as saying, "I always suspected that Wanda's renunciation of lesbianism had more to do with helping to revamp herself in the most palatable way for her clemency and appeal processes. She knew perfectly well that her being a lesbian was a big strike against her and that it's an embarrassment to the Black community. She was going to play the best hand that she could play at the very end." About her homosexuality, Jean said, "It was the wrong type of lifestyle. It didn't make either of us less human than if we were in a heterosexual relationship, a bisexual relationship. We are still human. We have emotions, we laugh, we cry. It was part of our life." There was an article about the clemency hearing published by the ACLU entitled "Bias and Stereotyping Sent Mentally Impaired Lesbian to Death Row." I'll put the link for the article in the description if anyone is interested in reading it. In addition to the prejudice against the gay community, Stephen Presson said that the prosecutors were embarrassed because in 1981, 7 years earlier, they let her plead guilty to manslaughter for a similar situation where she killed a friend, served less than 4 years on it, and so those two incidences combined equaled one death penalty case for Oklahoma. I'm going to read a segment from Jean's actual clemency letter to the Pardon and Parole Board, and then I'll move on. Largely as a result of her financial status, Wanda Jean Allen's legal representation was alarmingly inadequate. Her lawyer, a solo practitioner, agreed to represent her because he thought it would be a case of manslaughter. He had never tried a capital case and did not know how to fully prepare for defending a capital trial. The court refused to allow him to withdraw, refused him the assistance of a public defender's office, and refused to provide him funding for an investigator to help him prepare for the trial. The state's denial of adequate resources was clearly the pivotal reason that evidence concerning Wanda Jean Allen's mental disability was never presented to a jury. Had that evidence been presented, Wanda Jean Allen might not have been sentenced to death. At this point, Jean has spent 12 years on death row, and her appeal for clemency was denied. That occurred on December 15th of 2000. Her execution date is January 11th of 2001. The day before her scheduled execution, Steven and David Presson are like, we need to get Jean a new clemency hearing because we have new evidence. Their new evidence was signed documentation that Wanda Jean Allen was not ever enrolled in a college or a medical assistance program, and also documentation that she had dropped out of high school and never received a high school diploma even. This is the first time I'm hearing of someone getting a certificate for not attending college. The Preston brothers doing this was like a last-ditch effort to dismiss the prosecution's argument that if you graduated from high school and then went on and got a certificate in college and college educated, then you can't be mentally disabled. And they're like, yeah, well, we have proof that she didn't do either of those things and that she is mentally disabled. Anyways, David Presson gets word that their application to appeal for a new clemency hearing was denied. On top of that, this is all a big deal. People on death row being executed always draws in protesters and anti-death penalty activists, which is fine, but all of the crowds gathering made people nervous. Like, they thought that they were gonna storm the prison and break her out. So they moved Wanda Jean to another prison. All these crowds are gathering, there are camera crews, news, all that, and Jesse Jackson shows up to protest and gets arrested with a dozen or so other protesters.
One cannot justify Wanda Jean Allen killing anybody, not the state killing Wanda Jean Allen.
She's going from Oklahoma City to McAllister, which is like 100 plus miles away, and she's already en route. So the whole crowd is protesting, stop the killings and save Wanda Jean, save Wanda Jean. And she's not even there. Honestly, with all the cameras there, it doesn't even matter if she wasn't in that exact prison because they still get their point across. So the next morning, her lawyers get up and drive to McAllister so that they're there. It's the day of her execution, and obviously the documentary crew goes with them, and throughout the day they're on and off the phone with Jean, and a bunch of the calls are put on speaker and recorded. Jean and David actually seem like they became friends. One of the last phone calls that they had was about chips.
You there? Man, much better. They treating you okay?
Yeah, they good to me.
Have you eaten anything?
No, I haven't ate. Susan's supposed to bring me something to eat down here. I just want like chips or something like that.
Yeah.
They let me order something off a canteen here.
I don't know.
All I want is like some chips or something like that I can snack on. Nothing I have to cook in a hot pot.
I hear
think
you.
I can have that, but just, chips and stuff like that.
I hear you. I hear you.
I want nothing to have to cook for me. I just want chips.
We'll do it.
And they can take the money out of my books there if they have to.
Hey, we'll get it done.
Okay, that's what I want. Would you sign out?
You got it. I love you, Jean.
Okay, keep your head up.
Oh, it is up.
Try to touch base and find out what's going on, okay?
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wanda Jean Allen was executed by lethal injection by the state of Oklahoma on Thursday, January 11th, 2001. 24 relatives of murder victim Gloria Jean Leathers and manslaughter victim Dedra Pettus traveled there for the execution. Many of them watched the execution from behind a tinted window. While lying on the execution gurney, Jean said, "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." She also stuck her tongue out and smiled at her appeal lawyer, who had become her friend. He said she was dancing on the mattress while they tried to kill her. She was pronounced dead at 9:21 p.m. Relatives of Gloria Jean Leathers expressed the execution gave them closure. Gloria's daughter, Latoya Leathers, said, "We're the victims, not Wanda Jean. "We're the victims and justice has been served." Acting Director of Amnesty International USA's program to abolish the death penalty said, "Oklahoma had no business executing Allen. Any state that exercises its ultimate punishment against a person who is mentally impaired is acting not only immorally, but also irrationally and illegally." Allen was the first Black woman to be executed in the United States since 1954. She was the sixth woman to be executed in the United States since executions had resumed in 1977. She was buried at Trice Hill Cemetery in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And that is the story of Wanda Jean Allen. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I made a Facebook group if you want to check that out. Also, please like and subscribe. My name is Viktoria Evans. Stay safe out there.